When you're working with a circular knitting machine and are ready to finish your ends, you have a couple of different options at your disposal. Number one, you can do a simple slip stitch. This is one of the most common methods. I use this very often. The pros are that it's very quick, you don't need any extra yarn, and it still retains a little bit of that stretch. The cons are that these, because they're slip stitches, they're going to be a little bit tighter. So if you wanted to go back in and do, say, an additional row of crochet or maybe adding fringe, it's going to be a little bit more difficult with this method here, but it is the easiest method. One other method you could use is a single crochet method. So this, the pros are that it looks beautiful. So look how nice and clean that looks. It's also going to retain its stretch. So this is great if you're working on projects where you still want to have stretch and you want to have a nice pretty finish. And then also, because we're doing single crochet, you'll see that these are very uniform, these loops here, and it does make it a lot easier to go in and add any decorative finishes like ribbing or additional crochet. So this is a method that I'm going to show you today because we're going to use this on a new project that I'm working on. The one con I would say to this, you do need to have yarn. So if you didn't leave a yarn tail, you are going to have to add additional yarn. You will need to have a little bit of knowledge of crochet because we're going to be doing some single crochet. So let me show you how to do the single crochet finish on your knitting machine projects. To get started, you are going to need to find your cast on, cast off section. That's going to be the end or the start of your project. You do need to use waste yarn. Actually, I recommend using waste yarn for almost any project because it will allow you to easily pick up the loops and get the look that you are looking for. Now, as you look at the ends here, okay, we have this is our yarn tail for our waste yarn, and this is our yarn tail for our working yarn. So what we need to do, grab our handy crochet hook, and I typically use a 5. This is my favorite one. I have it always handy, and this is gonna make it so simple to know which loops to pick up because we use that waste yarn. So we're gonna start by picking up this loop, and then we're gonna pick up this loop. Now you can do two things. You can slip stitch those together. You could also yarn over and slip stitch. I am just going to slip stitch right there, and then I'm going to chain one. And that's, for me, I like the way that looks, so that's the reason I do it that way. So now what we're gonna do is down here at the bottom, you're gonna find your loop, pick that up, and then you're gonna go to the top up here. You wanna pick up the next loop. We need to pick up this one. So you pick up that loop there, you're gonna yarn over, and you're gonna pull just through 2. Okay, you could also pull through all 3 and then do a single crochet, but I found pull through 2, yarn over, and then we're gonna do that single crochet. So we're gonna chain 1. We're gonna go back again, go to your bottom, find the bottom loop, come up here to the top, find the top loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through again. And we're gonna continue that all the way down to the end, and I'll show you how to finish it off. And when you get down to the end, I have one more loop here. So I'm going to pick up that loop, and again, I'm just going to do a slip stitch through, yarn over, and then just pull it all the way through, just like that. Now let's take off our waste yarn and see how it turned out. Here is the final result on our piece. So we have, here's one side, here's the other side, and this, you're just going to hide that between your layers, and look how beautiful that is. So that is how you finish a knitting machine project using a crochet method.